Today I'm going to talk about the term queer, what it means and how I identify with it. As you probably know, LGBT is a thing, which means lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender. There's also the very long version, which is half of the alphabet, which is like LGBTQIAAP, which stands for something along the lines of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, ally, and pansexual, I think. LGBT on its own is fine, but not everyone who is not straight essentially identifies as, you know, as lesbian, gay, bisexual. They're quite sort of set identities, set structures. So the term queer can be used by itself as an umbrella term, or it can be a wide variety of identities and meanings and things. First of all, I'm going to talk about the fact that it can be an umbrella term. I take queer as an umbrella term essentially to mean anything other than heterosexual or cisgender. It just encompasses, this is an umbrella, like this is queer, and then in it, think of it as a family tree type thing. You have like LGBT, and then all the little things that go like off of that, and then you have loads of different things. So you can identify, for example, as lesbian and as queer, or you can identify as bisexual, but you're queer as well, or you can just identify as queer by itself because you don't fit within lesbian, gay, bisexual or transgender. And then there is the other part of queer. As I said, I think this definitely depends on the person. It depends on who you are and how you feel about it, because the thing about queer is like you sort of make it whatever it is, and whatever you identify as, all your little specifics and things are what makes queer what it is to you. So it's tailored for you, by you, under the term queer. Does that make sense? It's also a notable thing to mention that I think we all take your attractions to be the same all the time, in terms of your sexual attraction and your romantic attraction have to be to the same people. For example, if you're a gay man, you have to be only sexually attracted to other men, and you have to only be romantically attracted to other men, and that's not necessarily how it works. Queer for me is that sort of open space, and I think I referred to it earlier as it filling in the grey area, but that's not even true, because you have sort of black and white view of things, and that would be, for example, heterosexuals and the homosexuals, but then your grey area is the lovely bisexuals, which are in here. For me, queer is everything else that there is. I feel like it all boils down to the rejection of heterosexist society, and the rejection of gender binaries. They don't necessarily exist, or in my queer world, and not everyone identifies as female or as male, and some people identify as both, and some people identify as neither, and some people like me don't even know what they're doing or where they are or how they feel, but in that safe queer space, that is okay, because nothing has to be defined, and I don't think everything necessarily can be defined, and the fact that you're not confined and you can float wherever you want to go, that does not go to say that I think that lesbian is not a valid identity, because it absolutely is, and same goes for bisexuals and gay men. Don't let anyone make you feel like that's not valid, or like you need to identify as queer, because you don't. A couple of unfortunate people that appear to not be a fan of lesbians or gay men or bisexual people because they feel like they're restricting themselves. But just because you feel restricted doesn't mean that everyone else does, and you shouldn't put your own sort of insecurities or feelings about that onto someone else, because they might be perfectly happy and healthy identifying as, for example, lesbian. Nothing has to be as it is meant to be. Nothing has to be, nothing has to fit into the gay equivalent of the heterosexual society. Does that make sense? It's not a made up term, it's not a fashionable thing, as I've seen a few people talk about. It's not a fad, it is an identity, and it's a solid identity, and it's just something that allows that openness, and it really, for me, just means anything and everything that goes beyond heterosexuality. Not that there's anything wrong with being heterosexual. It's okay.